Hi guys, still up here at Grafton Archery, knocking out all these videos for you today. On this video, I got two of what I think are going to be the more popular bows for you taller, longer draw guys. And in one hand, I've got the Hoyt Ventum Pro 33, and then in the other hand, I've got the Mathews V3X 33. So let's jump on into it. Alright guys, so I've got review videos individually on both of these bows. If you want to see those full in-depth reviews on these, go check those videos out. I'll link them in the video right here. So, let's kind of roughly go over some specs between these two. With the Hoyt, 334 feet a second, Mathews 336, axle to axle, 33 on both. Hoyt's brace height 6 3/8, Mathews 6 1/2. Weight on these bows, just holding them in your hand, they are identical. I will say between the two, you really can't tell much of a difference at all, but they say they're exactly the same. The Hoyt is available in 40 to 80 pound increments, or in 10 pound increments, and the Mathews is available from 60 to 70 pounds, and that's adjustable with their cross weight technology and their mods. The Hoyt is available 26 to 31 inches on the draw, and the Mathews 27 to 31.5 inches. 27 1/4, 69.1, and 5 pounds hold. And then on the Ventum Pro, I had 27 1/4 is what it drew, and I actually had it set at 27 1/2, so they're drawing slightly short. 69.4, and what was it? 4.7 pounds hold. Alright, now we've got those numbers fixed. Keep forgetting to switch those over between videos. Anyway, so you can see they're very similar. I will say the Hoyt or Mathews overall has drawn a little long. I have this bow set at 27. It's drawing 27 1/8. And the Hoyt I have set at 27 1/2. It's drawing 27 1/4 on the same draw board. Everything else is almost identical. So let's look at speeds and what I got out of these bows. So for the Hoyt, I shot with a 329 grain arrow. I got 307 feet a second. Mathews 329 grain arrow 303, and continuing down the line, 430 grain arrow 274, 430 grain arrow 270. Hoyt 465 grain arrow 456 grain arrow, sorry, 267 feet a second. 456 grain arrow on the Mathews, 264 feet per second. 554 grain arrow on the Hoyt, 244, and 554 grain arrow on the Mathews was 243. So speed wise, these bows are almost identical. I mean, they're not far enough apart to even make a difference, to even put that into your decision making if you wanted to decide between these two bows. So with that being said, let's shoot a couple arrows from each bow, and then we'll talk about what I think. So let me go get my arrows. Alright, so starting off with the Hoyt. First thing, and if you've seen my review videos, you know I can't talk enough about the grip on these Hoyts and the draw cycle. There's like no drop off on that back side whatsoever. Back wall has just ever so slightly a sponge to it, and very, very little hand shot. I mean, there's not much there at all. So let me do this test here. And this is something that I'm going to start doing on every bow I review. Letting that bow down is a dream compared to some other bows. Alright, one more shot. Alright, now let's shoot a couple shots with the Mathews. The draw cycle is just as smooth on both bows, but they're different. I would say just hand shock wise, these bows are neck and neck. They're both almost identical in that aspect. I'd say on silence and just quietness in the shot, I'd say they're both neck and neck as well. I definitely like the Hoyt grip better. And I think balance in the hand, they're almost the same. Let me let this bow down. It's something about that Mathews draw. It's really hard for me to let it down smoothly. And to get into the back, you hear that just buzz, that little vibration, that little tink at the end. I think the Mathews has just a little bit more hand shock than the Hoyt. And I do think that the Hoyt has a nicer draw cycle, not smoother. The Hoyts are smoother in the front end, they're stiffer in the front end and smoother as you go back. Whereas Mathews is backwards. They're smoother at the front and they get real tight at the back and then kind of drop off just a little bit before the end of the draw cycle. Between these two bows, the main difference to me, there's a couple. The grip I like better on the Hoyt. I do think that just holding the bow with nothing on them, the Hoyt is more balanced. With that being said, I've yet to see the Hoyt accessories. With the Mathews accessories, I have to give balance to this bow. But I don't want to dive too far into that. Let's go in the other room. I'll talk about what I think about with both of these bows, and I'll give you the score for both of these bows that I put when I scored them individually. Alright guys, so I shot these two bows last night, really all afternoon. I shot a whole bunch of these bows. And I actually went home, went to church this morning, came back up here this morning to finish up these reviews. So in this video we shot the Ventum Pro 33 and the V3X 33 from Mathews. Just looking back through the video, you know, the specs on these bows were almost the same. I mean, they were very, very similar on speeds. They were just, both bows overall were almost identical. The main difference between these two bows you're going to see is the length of the riser. I mean, my goodness, look how much longer. The riser on the Mathews is almost the full length of the bow. I mean, it is unreal how long this riser is. And I think that could make it more accurate. It's supposed to, in theory, be a more accurate bow. But overall, this one's really tight. Between the 30 and the 20, the Ventum Pro 30 and the V3X 29, I chose the V3X 29. I'm sorry, I chose the Ventum Pro 30. In this case, I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know that there was a clear winner here for me on this. I think if there is one, it would have to give. I would have to give a slight edge to the Hoyt, and that's mainly for draw cycle, and that's because their draw cycle is my preference. The other thing is the grip. I really like this new Hoyt grip. Well, I like it a lot more than the Engage personally, but like I said, that's another personal preference. So before I get too far into which one I like the best, let's talk about score on these bows. And once again, like I keep saying, the scores are all personal preference. These you might score these bows completely different. So here we go. Quietness. I gave the Ventum Pro 33 a 4 out of 5 for quietness, and I also gave the V3X 33 a 4 out of 5 for quietness. Both were almost identical on noise at the shot. Vibration, I gave both these bows a 3. And I did that because they both did have quite a bit of vibration in the shot. Not too much, not where they're annoying to shoot, but there was more. They were middle of the road, I should say. They weren't the worst, they weren't the best, so I gave them a 3. Back wall and hold, I gave the 33 a 3 out of 5, and I gave this 33, the Mathews 33, I gave it a 5 out of 5, and that's where this bow kind of got a little bit more points there. The back wall is definitely nicer on the Mathews than it is on the Hoyt. This, out of all the new Hoyts, this one had the spongiest back wall, at least for me. Wasn't horrible. Definitely leaps and bounds above what Hoyt's back walls used to be. But from the newer bows, this did have kind of a middle of the road back wall there. So for draw cycle, I gave this bow a 5 and I gave this bow a 4. This bow was definitely a slightly stiffer back wall than the Hoyt, and I enjoy the cycle. I enjoy the full, I'm sorry, not back wall, draw cycle. This bow had a harsher draw cycle than the Hoyt. Not by a lot, but by enough that I think you could probably shoot 5 extra pounds on the Hoyt over the Mathews and still feel about the same. Shootability and tunability. I gave the Hoyt a 4 and I gave the Mathews a 5. Once again, that super long riser I think is going to be the difference there in tunability and shootability. Both of these bows are almost identical in every other spec. Axle to axle, brace height are very similar. Speed wise, they're very similar. So from shootability, tunability, like I said, 4 and a 5. And then balance. Balance, I gave this bow a 3. It wasn't super balanced in my hands. This bow was. This was a really well balanced bow. I gave the Mathews a 4, so it edged it out once again over the Hoyt. Speed wise, I gave this bow a 3 and I gave this bow a 4. And both these bows overall, the 33 scored a 25 out of 35, and the Mathews 33 scored a 29 out of 35. So it's really hard there when you look at the scores. I kind of let off by I like the Hoyt better, but these were the two bows that I was really torn between, because score-wise, the Mathews scored four points higher, which on this kind of grading scale is quite a bit higher. It gained a bunch of points in the right areas. I don't know, guys. I think I said Hoyt to begin with, but I don't know that I could really give a clear winner between these two. Points-wise, the Mathews won. My personal preference, I don't know yet. These two bows here would be the two that I would have to shoot the most, back and forth, before I could actually give a 100% definite answer on which one I would choose. If you go off my scoring system, the Mathews won, but I don't know, guys. I can't really give you a direct answer as far as which one I think is better. I think it's going to, both of these bows are going to attract, I think, the same market of people, and it's going to be all about what you want. They were so similar on a lot of the key areas that matter in a hunting bow that I can't really give a clear winner. I think if you're going to shoot the Mathews accessories, I think definitely the Mathews is the way to go between these two bows. I think if you want to shoot any accessories, I would probably give the nod to the Hoyt. But I haven't seen the Hoyt accessories yet, and I don't know how they're going to compare to the new Mathews accessories. So I don't know that I'm going to give a clear winner here. I gave you the points, what I thought as far as how I think they scored, but they were so similar to me. Really, if I had to shoot one right now, just like you told me this was the only bow that I was ever going to be able to shoot again, I would probably get the Hoyt, and I would probably get it in 80 pounds and maybe dial it down to like 76 pounds. After shooting my Mathews all year last year, the draw cycle and being able to let down at the end, I'm sure some of you guys can do it, but for me, when I'm cold and I've been packing all day, I tried and tried and tried, and there were very, very few times where I was able to let that Mathews down without my arrow clanking around inside my wrist. Shootability and tunability, I think the nod goes to the Mathews, but I think overall, if I had to choose between the two right now, I probably would still choose the Hoyt, even though it scored lower on the list. Like I said, these bows were shot at both are right around 70 pounds. I think if I were to get the Hoyt, I would probably get heavier limbs. Maybe it would make up a little difference in the speed. Quietness would be around the same. So I don't know, guys. I don't want to keep on going on this one. You definitely need to shoot these two. They're so similar that even with the scoring system, even with the Mathews edging out the Hoyt, I think those numbers could easily flip-flop based off of your personal opinion of the bows. So I'm not going to give you a clear winner on this one. You definitely need to come up here and shoot these bows if this is something that you're kind of on the fence about, or if these bows are something that you're interested in. Come check them out up here at Grafton Archery. And these guys can help you out and give you their opinions on what they think on these bows. So thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't already, come check these guys out at Grafton Archery. Give them a call at 704-855-1300. If you have any questions regarding anything archery, you need them to order anything, just give them a call and let them know. If there's anything you want me to help you with or you want to talk about, comment down below and let me know if there's anything else you want to see on the channel that you haven't seen already. And if there's anything that I need to change, let me know what you think about the grading criteria and if you think it's a fair system or if you think I need to change it up. In this case, the grading scale didn't really firmly pick which bow I think was better, so it was just kind of a number that I could give you based on what I think of each criteria of each bow. So thanks for watching, guys. Go check out our website at bcreekgear.com for hats, t-shirts, and decals. Help us out and help out conservation. And remember to live your life to the fullest. Use your passions to bless others. We'll catch you on the next video.